right, brother. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. There we are. And we're live.
All right.
It's Thursday.
Yep.
And we're here. We got it.
A little late, but
Well,
we
not
got
really,
this.
you know. I mean,
Yeah.
in all honesty, people, they don't tune in until they get notification anyway.
Oh,
And then
fair.
the first like 30 to 90 seconds, they're definitely not going to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's all whatever. It's people. Silly.
So we're free to say whatever we want. I'm just so joking.
Almost.
Yeah.
We won't get on the live. We may,
Yeah.
get nailed later. But
I was
whatever.
about to say, flagged on the podcast.
No shit, dude. So,
All right.
big NFL news yesterday,
Yeah.
and
This.
with the policy, the national anthem policy.
Yeah. So they are. The owners voted that all the people on the field must stand, and if you do not want to stand, you have to be in the locker room.
Well, off field.
Off
I'm
field.
not going to say they have to be in the locker room, but off
Okay,
field,
so
like
they
not
can't
on
be
camera.
on the field, and
Yeah.
because that's where
Yeah.
the cameras point.
And
I
now we're
see.
simplifying that, and so everybody knows we're simplifying.
Yeah,
how
yeah.
We're paraphrasing the rule to take out all the legal jargon and da da da. So we'll just speak on it. So I had read on this was a report through the NFL Network yesterday.
Yeah.
That it was a unanimous vote to take on this policy, and then already the Jets owner said that he would pay any fines that any players received if they kneeled on the field during the anthem.
Oh, okay.
So silly. So
Well-
I'm wondering, man, like, what the hell? So this is my thing.
So they're already getting lashback.
Right. And let's just take this at the base level before we get into all the, is it social justice or are you forcing patriotism and are you this and that and that, right? So
Yeah.
it comes down to this. The NFL is a private institution.
Yeah.
Okay. That private institution has certain policies in place, right? And off air we talked about some of these. You're forced to do some mandatory media interviews, right? They have mandatory interviews they've got to do, some pregame, some post. There's a certain amount, and that's all explained in the agreements.
Yeah.
They can't wear the headphones of choice in pregame. They've got to wear the ones that are NFL sponsored, right? We had players get in trouble for that last year before, and they had to, enforce that. You can't wear messages on your socks, helmets, your mouthpiece, any of this kind of stuff unless it's approved by the NFL. You have to wear your uniforms in a certain way. You can't do this, or you can't speak out against refs. You can't. There's all of these rules and things that you have to conduct yourself a certain way in public, and
Yeah.
there's all of these rules and policies that are in place for players and coaches and staff and trainers and the execs and anyone involved with the NFL, right? So when your employer says, for example, you have long hair, great, love it. When you're on the clock, you got to have it up.
Yeah.
If you have it down, you're probably not going to have a job very long.
Fair. Yeah.
Right?
I have had employers tell me that.
I'm just saying, and it's the tattoos. Hey, great. Have all the tattoos you want while you're on the clock. Keep them as covered as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Because sometimes your sleep may come up, and they're like,
Yeah, exactly.
So they're realistic about it and just keep them as covered as possible. Some don't care.
Well,
Some do. But if the policy is keep them covered and you come in a tank,
yeah.
you may not have a job very long.
And wearing a tank to work is also something.
Well, if you have the luxury of wearing a tank to
Yeah,
work.
which is
so
true.
yeah.
But yeah, so I think
Right? So base level first. Is it fair to say it that way?
the way I see it is if you agree to work for these people, then you have to conduct yourself a certain way.
Right.
So like when I agree to work at a gym, I agree to, okay, well, yeah, I have to wear a uniform, or I disagree with that and say, no, I'm not going to wear a uniform. And we compromise. You negotiate and see. But if it is a requirement, it is a requirement in some cases for me to keep my hair up. Otherwise, it's going to get caught in something, or, I'm going to get yanked on. It's more of a safety thing than it is an image thing. Yeah, you have to comply. And then as for the NFL, you're paid. You've already signed a contract that says you have to, present yourself a certain way.
Right. Abide by.
Yeah, by
Just say all of the policies.
NFL rules. Right. Yeah, exactly. So I think I don't want to agree with it, but it is a policy that the NFL has. And,
Right.
I mean, it's either we have to have these players re-sign their contracts and say, okay, this is a new policy and agree to it or not, or
typically, without the specific legal language,
yeah,
is those things are kind of already in the contracts.
oh,
You're basically agreeing to future policies and stuff as long as they follow the law and things of that nature.
yeah, okay,
And I'm simplifying that just to make it easy for the discussion. But so, you already agreed if you sign a contract at a gym, you agree to their policy changes
yeah,
preemptively.
yeah.
So you don't have to go back and sign a contract anytime something comes up and they change it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So they've already agreed to that. Now, I'm not saying no one can challenge the policy, but there is an appropriate way to challenge it.
Yeah.
And
there's a more legal way to do it rather than
illegal. I say appropriate.
Yeah.
And legal. I mean, it is legal, but it's an appropriate way to challenge it. So it's where I get in is I'm like, okay, base level, your employee says this is the way it's got to be.
Yeah.
Great. You can disagree with it all day long. And I'm not going to get into it's a blessing or not to be able to play for the NFL. It's a blessing or not to receive a bunch of money or this and that. I'm putting all of that crap to the side. Your employer says this is how you have to be when you're on the clock.
Yeah.
Right? And when you're not on the clock, you have to be this way because you're still famous and representative of the shield, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Going through. So they have some unique things that not every civilian has to deal with, but that's the nature of the job, so to speak. So when they get in, so you can do it that way. Now, if they don't like it and they don't want to participate, they can go in the locker room.
Yeah.
And there's no issue. There's nothing negative come. There's no discipline. It's great. They can do that, and it's applauded more than doing something on the field. Now, with this there's the threat that multiple players from both sides of the team or both sides of the field are going to go ahead and kneel anyway.
Yeah, which is honestly probably what I would do.
And I'm just kind of like, in this situation, now if it's like high school or whatever, I'm like, all right, whatever, who cares anyway, right?
Yeah.
This is a multi-billion-dollar a year company.
Yeah.
Affording you a right that very few citizens of this country or people of this world even have the chance to try to do it. Not the chance to do it. So you've narrowed this scope down to you are a special individual having an ability to do something that is very unique that very few people ever in the history of the globe get a chance to do.
So yes, you're right. And so I think what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a whole bunch of players sitting out in the locker room just waiting to come on.
Great.
Well,
so do it.
And so, but yeah,
and it's, and you get it. So that's my thing. It's like, if you don't want to do it, don't. By all means, don't. And you'll hear this on the argument. You'll hear this, and we'll talk about it. Is you can call it protesting it whatever you want. You can say it's social justice. You can say it's this. I don't even want to get into that point because the topic, the reason for the protest, ultimately to me is irrelevant. Because once you do that, you start to label demographics and you start to label things, and that takes away from it. So if we're going to look at equality, let's just take that part off.
Yeah.
So the protest itself, you will hear the argument that it's most valuable to protest when the most people are giving attention. Right? That's kind of true.
Yeah.
Kind of true. That is true in the sense, in my opinion, you want to protest when the most people are paying attention that have the ability at that time to actually absorb what you're trying to say.
Yeah, and I think that would be the difference, is because a lot of people are paying attention, but you're not going to influence them.
Right. And I was talking to my wife earlier about it, and it had come up. I don't know if it was her eye that brought it up, and she goes, yeah, you remember all the shit that Tim Tebow got for kneeling after he scored touchdowns and did big plays?
Yeah, which is true, which is kind of silly.
And that was for religion.
Yeah.
Not during the national anthem, during gameplay.
Yeah.
And some people loved it and some people hated it, just like this. Some people love the fact that they're protesting and some people hate it. Now, back then, it was one person only. I think one or two other people kind of did it in his support over a week or two. I mean, remember, he wasn't in the league very long, right? So,
yeah.
But they didn't want that to be displayed on television because the NFL didn't want to put themselves in a position of saying, effectively, we are a Christian
league.
league.
Yeah.
They were like, we are a league for everyone.
Yeah.
That was kind of their stand. And so they discussed disciplinary actions. I think, I could be wrong, I think he got fined a couple of times for it.
Probably.
Which he didn't care. I mean,
I was about to say, he's making millions.
He got a big contract. How, I have no fucking idea. But big contract, so it's a whole another discussion.
Yeah, let's get into that later.
Yeah, I'm like, But Tim Tebow kneeling for his religion was ridiculed in a very parallel way, because it was just one person as opposed to a bunch, as guys kneeling during the national anthem. One was for his religion, one is for protest. Kneeling.
Yeah.
Right?
I wouldn't put those on the same level, though. I think just stating your religion, so, okay, I kneel for this reason, to thank God or whatever it is one thing, because anybody can, I kneel to thank whatever religion it is.
And you see people all the time cross and point up when they score a touchdown or every play and do, you see that after the game, everything, I want to, everything
like to
goes to
God, my family, or Jesus, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But, so... That's not. I think that's more passive than this, right? More passive than the protest, because the protest is you're trying to get something done.
Yeah.
Kneeling for God or whatever, or cross or whatever.
That was more for him than anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is for yourself.
True. Yeah.
And so I think, to be honest, I think you should be allowed to stand for a point, and especially when you're given such a public platform, such a platform with a lot of people. But then there is a right and wrong way to do it.
Time and place.
Exactly, yeah. And so I think I do like how the NFL owners, how the vote gave you the option, to say, okay, well, we can't have you kneeling on the field, so if you would like, you can kneel off the field. Or you can sit down off the field, or whatever it is that you're doing. Yeah. Right. And but still, to the point... You're holding back, allowing this protest to continue. But to be fair, there are etiquettes to protesting. No violence, no this, that, and the other. And
no inciting, no...
Yeah, and this is just getting a little more particular about things. Yeah. To be fair, you have signed a contract that says you'll abide by NFL policy.
Yeah. And this isn't... in many regards, to be very clear, I'm not saying I'm against people protesting things.
Yeah, yeah.
You can go protest everywhere. And the protections afforded by the Constitution are protecting the citizens from the government. Right?
Yeah.
It's not protecting the citizens from the private institutions creating a policy not wanting you to do something on the clock.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that make sense? And I'm not giving the full statement there, obviously, time and all those other things. But this is me. If that's the policy, respect the policy.
Yeah.
And now we'll take a step. The main number one reason this policy exists is because the NFL took a hit to the pocket because of the protest.
Really?
And that's all stated. Now, how much? Nobody knows for sure. I've seen things as low as 8%, and I've seen things as high as 28%.
Yeah.
As far as what their profits and revenues and all.
But they're not ever going to tell you.
Right.
Because then you'll see, what the effect is.
Yeah. And so they lost money.
Okay.
Right. So clearly, if the employees are doing something making the company lose money,
it is a business. Yeah.
Policies are going to change, dog. I'm sorry. Right? I mean, you don't get to do that. Now, and to give you a back end, because I don't think you may or may not know the collective bargaining agreement deal. The players get X percentage of profits and the owners get X percentage of profits, right?
Yeah.
There was grumblings going on because the players were going to have a cut on their salaries, what was going to go to them because the NFL lost money. They get the same percentage, but that's going to be the total
less
value is going to be smaller because they didn't make as much. They don't want that.
Obviously.
The Players Association didn't want that. They said, we want the same money. The owners take the hit.
Okay, so that I disagree with.
So I'm kind of like, we can play this. We can play this all these ways, right? And I don't know behind the scenes how all of that stuff worked out. Clearly, it worked out to this was the end result, right? And so you don't get to do both.
Exactly, but that's the whole thing, and I guess that comes back to consequence for your actions, right? Because if you're standing for a point, expect repercussions naturally. Expect the NFL to create a policy, or expect to take a pay cut, whatever it is. But if you really believe in that point, well, you're going to stick to it.
Right.
And that's what it becomes. If you're convicted to that idea, that policy, that protest, then it doesn't matter what happens, right? You can.
This is work with me on this one, okay?
Yeah.
So we know Kaepernick started the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I feel comfortable saying he was blackballed because he's still not with the team. He's still all this other kind of stuff. And there are worse quarterbacks that were playing starting positions and things like that. So
also very true.
I feel safe. I don't have any evidence, but I feel comfortable saying that he was blackballed and he was blacklisted and he was shunned out. I don't think that's right, but on a team, if he's going to wind up being a poison and disrupting their chances, I kind of understand it. I don't agree with it, but I understand why. If the team feels like he would be a detriment to bring on, even though his skill level may be a little higher than this guy, if he's going to be a poison and bring attitudes down, we know what that can do to teams, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself this. If I am an NFL player and I want to make a point, and it's against the rules for me to make this point during these 90 seconds.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time in the other 23 hours. And,
which is true.
You know,
yeah, you can go into any interview and...
With all the podcasts and all the news media and all the social media and all... It's hard for me to say that they don't have a platform.
Yeah, because if I heard Tebow or Watt says, "Oh, I have a podcast now," well, I know what I'm tuning into every week.
You know what I'm saying? Or they're like, "Hey, you know what? I'm pissed off about. Let's do the social justice thing on this one.
Yeah.
I'm pissed off about how I feel blacks are being treated negatively in these communities or in these situations, and this with the police, and that they're being wronged and wrongfully accused. Whatever you put the whole jump in there, and I'm going on." Whatever. I'm going on Rogan's podcast here. Or I'm going to go on, just pick any of them, right? Just pick any. I'm going to go on these podcasts, or I'm going to go on this interview, or this deal. People are going to tune in. Yeah. And when they tune in, they're going to be paying attention to what you're saying. Yeah. As opposed to, because I would listen to that.
Oh, yeah.
But now because personal views, when I saw the players kneeling during the national anthem, I'm like, you're disrespecting my friends that died.
Yeah.
And my sacrifices that I made.
Yeah.
And the sacrifices that people are currently making for you to have this freedom.
Yeah.
Right? Because my only opinion, we are in the greatest country in the world right now. Is it error free? Fuck no, it's not error free. We got all kinds of problems.
Yeah.
Our problems are nothing compared to other people's problems.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, in places, in other countries where there actually is racism and true apartheid and things like that, if you run out in the street and you yell you hate racism, you're going to get your ass shot. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be shut up real quick. And your family's going to get shot. And if you had any offspring, they're going to be working prison camps for their entire life. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, in any variety of these things, and we all know this is true.
Yeah.
I mean.
I would think that's right. And
it's respect. This is me. Respect what's giving you what little to no other country in this world can give you.
Yeah.
And then use those freedoms that are also afforded to you to create the change that you think is most important in appropriate platforms. And then if people agree with you, if enough people agree with you, shit changes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To me, it seems easy, but and I think I'm missing something because a lot of people get pissed at me and, dude, the hate.
You're wrong.
The hate. You can't force patriotism. No, you can hang out in the back, dude. Like, keep getting treatments or stretch or warm up bed. I'm like, like to me, and again,
fair, yeah.
I'm just, you know. So what is it?
So
man?
they have stated, and all these players that participate in the kneeling have stated that it is not for. It's never disrespect towards military. So I think you would have to find a better, either a better way to state it or a better time to do it, because back to time and place, right? So, but we don't, have a police anthem as far as I know. I'm sure the police do, but we never play it on the NFL or the NBA or anything like that. So there's no kind of chance to take a shot at it.
Yeah.
And I understand the issue and I support the protest, but it's always been in the back of my head that the anthem is not necessarily the right time.
Right.
But I think I honestly believe if you had Kaepernick or if you had all the people that participate in the protest begin their interviewing and begin their, reaching out to the media or reaching out to the population and stating this is the issue, this is why we're doing this, or this is the issue and we want to change it, you'd probably get significantly better response.
Because people will be listening and they will be expecting to hear that then. And this is the deal. A lot of people are like,
I'll call them up and let them know.
Yeah, to give them a ring. And part of it is this, is that I don't want people to think that I'm saying that my perception of disrespect towards, the country is veterans only, is servicemen only. It's not. It's that social worker that takes 20% of the regular pay that they get because they're helping people that are underprivileged and doing all these things. They're taking pay cuts. They're not. Service doesn't mean military.
Yeah.
Service doesn't mean first responder, police, fire.
Yeah, it could be.
Teachers are serving.
Yeah, anything government funded, anything.
It doesn't even have to be government funded. People, local food banks, they're serving the country.
True.
Does that make sense?
That's fair, yeah.
And it's like to me, that's what the country stands for, is all of that community coming together.
Yeah.
Which is civilian, which is government, it doesn't matter. It's all of them coming together to serve the country in the best way that they can.
Yeah.
Or that they feel is going to give the greatest impact. And so to me, if I were Kaepernick and I kneeled that first time, cool, no issues with the first time.
Yeah.
If he came out and said, "Oh crap, guys, really? I had no idea that it would be received as a disrespectful to our veterans and the people that have served and sacrificed. No more. I got it. I'm sorry. Here's what I'm trying to do. This is my deal, and we're gonna have some interviews on this."
Yeah.
I'd have tuned in and supported it 100%.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But then when it's like, no, you can't tell me what you feel. What? You can't tell me it's disrespectful. But
but I'm going to tell you what I feel.
Wait, what?
Well, yeah, so. And then you said something earlier. The Jets owner.
Yeah.
Willing to pay the fines.
Yeah. There was an ESPN report today.
What's that?
It was an ESPN report a little hour or two ago.
Oh, okay. So there's already people that are saying, we're going to do it anyways.
Right. And then I'm kind of like, where is the damn accountability? Where is the freaking accountability? Right?
Yeah. Well,
you take any average American to above average American, not that upper middle all the way down, and you have any of them go intentionally break policy to their employer. They're toast, dude. You're done. You're fired.
That's fair. I've done that several times and just been reprimanded.
And I'm not saying it's firing immediately, but you're going to be disciplined. You're going to be reprimanded.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it comes down to. And there are steps, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's the whole bit of it is a lot of the, I guess, actually getting punished for whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
Doesn't actually happen as much. And so, you're going to pay this fine. Dude, this fine is nothing compared to my salary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so either make it significant or come up with a better alternative.
Yeah.
And so.
But to me, and this is me, is that, again, now that's like, they know people are receiving it as disrespect to our country.
Yeah.
And then now you're going to intentionally continue the disrespect. And you're going to add the disrespect to the league.
Yeah.
By breaking policy. You're just throwing your finger to I'm like, you don't
everybody at this point.
Right. You don't get to do that.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like, that's just, when is that ever the solution?
I think in the very beginning, getting the attention.
Yeah.
And then after that, you either have to roll with the momentum that you've generated from attention.
Yeah.
And then find a better way to do it. So, I mean, I can understand why they do it. I don't necessarily agree with the kneeling portion of it.
Yeah.
But I like the solution of being able to sit out of the field or in the locker room or whatever it is, just to be able to say, well, this is still an issue for me. Yes. And so I think ultimately we're on a kind of a good page, on the right track.
Absolutely.
But I think up next, we're definitely going to have to start just pumping this out to the population and let people actually get their input and let people actually
and I think
listen
we're
to
there.
the issue.
Yeah, I think we're there, and they grabbed plenty. The protesters grabbed plenty of attention now.
Oh yeah.
Okay, stop with the kneeling. You've got everybody's attention.
Yeah.
You know, so just you've got the now shift. If you really want change, go address some change.
Yeah.
Because I agree, we got a lot of issues with that stuff. There's, you know, I've talked about on the show before how there's more officers with body cams.
Yeah.
There's, you know, better audio. There's better cams that existed. More people are watching. There's more cameras everywhere. People are to the point now where they'll see a video clip that looks horrible, and instead of that knee-jerk attack, they're like, hey, where's the first 2 minutes?
Yeah.
You know, and that's starting to become the norm, which
is
I like
true,
that.
yeah.
Which is
learning
allowing
the whole thing instead of.
Yeah, and so now we're starting to see the difference of there are a good number of absolutely illegitimate bullshit claims of wrongdoing, and those are coming out due to the body cams, and then there's also a pretty big chunk of actual wrongdoings, which now are being exposed for body cams and other cameras and people's phones and things of that nature. So we're starting to get to see, because of the kneeling, I think. That's my guess, was a big catalyst, is the kneeling, and then obviously, you know, post Ferguson and all that kind of stuff, is that there's more tools out there to prove it either way. Was there an actual wrongdoing, or was it total crap? Because we've seen both. And obviously there's going to be, when accusations are made, a small bit are going to be bullshit of most of the accusations, but then there's going to be a big chunk of real ones.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the small ones that are bullshit taint all the legitimate ones, which that's a whole nother topic, but I'm like, that should be criminal. You should be locked up, lose your career. The book should be thrown at you. No matter what, if you falsely accuse somebody of stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, because then you get stuck with that.
Yeah.
And you have to just deal with it. So, well.
But that's a whole different thing. But
that I do agree. Is at this point now, we are at the peak of it before people just start looking over at these NFL players. Still doing it? All right, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So people are still getting outraged about it, but there's a lot of still support for it. And you're right. We do have the means to understand the whole story better. And I was actually, when you were talking about that, I was sitting in the back of my head, I was thinking, well, the best example I have right now was this whole Trump thing, talking about MS-13 and Mexican Mafia and all that bit. Yeah. And I was sitting there, I was like,
some humor built into that.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and the first clip I saw was, he called all these immigrants this, that, and the other, and I was like, oh wow, that's bad. And then immediately after, this was probably 5 minutes later, I was scrolling through and just kind of trying to figure out what was going on. It was, this is all based on gang. And I was like, okay, this is, that I can see a little bit better than
and he's
all
talking
immigrants.
specifically about MS-13.
Yeah, exactly. Very specifically. And I was like, okay, this I accept.
These are not quality people.
Yeah. No,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Not at all.
But then you get the Democrats coming out immediately saying,
still human.
they're still humans. You can't call them animals. And oh, Lord. He doesn't actually, this is the politics.
Yeah.
Drives me
naturally.
up the fucking wall. When President Trump does some crazy shit that I disagree with, I'm going to put it there. But in defense of him and in defense of any other person that speaks in a public level, when somebody says MS-13 gang members are animals, he doesn't actually mean they run around on all four legs and are fucking animals. Right? Like, can we, he's just meaning that their actions are animalistic. They're beast-like. They're monstrous. They're all these other things, right?
Yeah.
And so he does, what's the, holy crap, dude. It stumps me with words to think of how ridiculous that is.
Yeah.
He doesn't mean that they're actual animals. Like, why is that even, how is it convoluted to that? How is it twisted to that?
Because the whole big topic is about overall, we've been talking about immigration, and so as soon as the left side got a hold of that, they just snipped that little bit out and said, "Oh, wait, all immigrants. Wait a second." And then, but no, I mean, you're right, and there's a lot of here in Houston, a lot of gang activity, and you do find a lot of really, really horrible things happening. But I think the whole tricky business, and especially about being a politician or the president, is you do really have to watch what you say, and Trump does not do that very well.
No, he doesn't watch it at all.
Yeah, and so, but calling somebody, even calling them an animal, right, is the same. It gets onto that same level as, oh, well, I said it this one time and people didn't respond very well, or they didn't care, so I said it again and again, and that's where it kind of builds up, right?
Yeah.
Like Hitler calling Jews rats or whatever the case was. It
was rats, yeah.
Yeah, it builds up, and then slowly people start to take it more literally.
Roaches of the yeah.
Okay. Yeah, roaches. But I mean, it goes. I feel that there's not a lot of kind of looking forward and saying, okay, well, if I say this, how is it going to be taken long term?
Yeah.
Right? Because
but if he came out and he said all MS-13 members are monsters.
Well, that would be disrespectful to monsters.
Are we then going to start getting upset and say, does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. Like, can we not take the English language in context anymore? Like, are we to that point? Does that make sense?
Fair point, yeah.
We've
lived with this all our lives, and we can't.
We're like, we can't say illegal alien anymore. What? Well, why not?
I didn't hear about this one. What do we say?
Well, you have to say undocumented worker, undocumented immigrant, and
what about illegal immigrant?
Right. I'm like, dude, can we just? We're not saying, if we're saying, oh, they're an illegal immigrant, we're not saying they're crap of the earth and they're worthless and there's other things. We're not saying that.
Yeah.
It's a label. They're here and they're trying to be here permanently, and they did it by non-legal means, which typically means illegal.
Yeah.
So why can't we just say illegal? An alien doesn't mean you're from space and green. It means you're not
from here.
That I'm like, oh. Like,
fair point. All right.
Like, it's just all that kind of stuff. It's just the PC shit is driving me out the wall, dude. It like hurts my soul.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. I work up in the Heights, and a lot of these young generation people, and I am as not PC as possible, just to start conflict.
Yeah.
I love it. No, it's great.
Well, it's and I'll just say, so, near the Heights and down the Montrose area and all that stuff.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, I don't know his name because, well, he'd probably love it anyway. But anyway, he's always like, blah, blah, blah. I got like, sorry, dude. Yeah, I was going to hit you later or whatever. I got stuck up in Gayville for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, he's gay. He's been in a 20-something year relationship.
Yeah.
And he calls it gay, And then, but if we're in public and somebody else says that, he's like, hey,
you can't say that. Yeah.
Why are you doing this? And he's like, gets all the, like.
Yeah.
He's not really upset.
Exactly.
He's not upset. He could give two shits.
Okay, he's joking though.
He's joking though, but he plays
like
playing on a
even
piece
more.
Of, yeah. He don't fucking care at all.
Oh my god.
And he's like, if you don't want to be called a Nelly Queen, don't act like a Nelly Queen. How about that? Like, that's his whole thing,
I like that.
His thing is Saturday nights, all this stuff. He's like, yeah, Saturday nights I'm a Nelly Queen.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So what?
I'm dressed the part. He's like, I'm dressed the part. We're doing
That's
it.
fair.
And he was like,
yeah,
he's like, this day every month or every quarter or whatever. He's like, I'm a leathery bear. That's what I am. He does it like that. And you're just like, dude,
that's
come
awesome.
on, man.
I love that.
Come on. But the point being is that the PC stuff is just getting silly.
Yeah.
And
yeah, for sure.
We got to be able to take context.
Yeah.
And when the president says about Kim Jong-un's that little rocket man, okay, that's wrong. Like, that would be, it's funny, but we could be upset on that one because that's not necessarily appropriate.
Sorry. You're right. You're
right. But when he says, hey, this group of really violent, murderous, criminal killers are animals, I'm cool with that, dude. I'm cool with it. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're acting like animals.
Because if you're going to take a shot at somebody, you might as well take a shot at a gang member rather than... He's not saying, well, okay, I'm not going to say that. If you take a shot at somebody who's not doing anything wrong, well, that's wrong.
Right.
You're taking a shot at somebody who's causing distress or who's not has a negative influence on society. Well, I'm okay with. You can call him out all you want.
Call him that. He's not saying like, oh hey, everybody at MS-13 has small penises, which is why they kill so much. Right? Now, right? Like,
they all have Napoleon complex.
Now you're going to piss off all the people who like ice cream.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn it. Napoleon ice cream. But you can't. Dude, I'm sorry. People hate me for this, but sometimes Trump does some really funny shit, man.
Yeah.
And you got to just take it as sometimes it's funny.
Yeah.
He's a reality TV star. He's an outspoken tycoon, real estate tycoon. Like, sometimes you just got to be like, I know he's president. Damn, that was funny. I like cried with the Rocket Man thing.
Yeah. God.
Our rockets are bigger than your rockets and all that shit. Dude, that was, I'm sorry. That's funny. I was just like,
my God.
That was hilarious.
To be fair, they stooped down to his level and called Pence a political dummy the other day. This morning. Or yesterday or something like that.
Somewhere in the last 24 hours or whatever.
Yeah, and when I heard that, I was oh my God. I was bawling.
But they do, just like, and he's using, well, we check with Pocahontas.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh, David, this is the way I'll talk about it, but I love it, dude. That stuff, I love it because it makes a mockery of something that people are trying to screw with and take seriously, and some of it I love that.
So to that bit, we do have to understand that he is a political leader, but we knew who we brought in. And for the people who disagree with it, keep fighting the good fight. Keep saying I disagree with it naturally.
Yes, I am not in any way saying if you disagree with Trump, shut your mouth. No.
Yeah,
don't.
No. Please keep talking.
Same thing when President Obama was there. If you disagree with him, go do it. President Bush, go do it. Clinton, go do it. Do it.
But
but my whole thing, I'll say this. Go combat it, argue it, debate it, be respectful.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the hard one. And if President Trump says some stupid, disrespectful shit, it doesn't give you the green light to be disrespectful. You, in quotation marks. Right? And let me take one step back and say, if you're the one in the exchange with President Trump,
by
all means, poke the bear,
yeah.
dude. But if you're not in that direct chain, like if you're discussing policy or you're discussing, administrative actions, or you're discussing, in those types of things, if you're talking about immigration, if you're doing that, be respectful, because it's like when I get in those debates, I get them all the time.
Yeah.
Right, I get them all the time. My goal in all of this is to have an open discussion because I know people watch, right? That's one. I know that people watch this stuff, not in the sense of Big Brother, but in the sense that they really want the pulse of the public. And my goal is to help drive America in the path that I think is the best for America.
Yeah. No, I
for
agree.
Americans, right? Because of immigration and things like that. I'd never have the intent at any level to be like, screw this person, fuck those people, burn those people.
Yeah.
That you're all idiots and you're all
But they're still Americans at the very end of the day. And so if you're saying, I don't like this demographic, well then I'm patriotic, because that's those demographics live here. They make up society. They contribute to society.
Yes.
And that's fair. And so I think
perfect example. Very short.
This.
I'm rather conservative, and I think everybody should be able to drive around with tanks with rocket launchers on their shoulders. I don't give a shit because that's what the Constitution says. That's me. Care? Go do it.
That would be so cool.
I would love to have a tank.
Yeah.
Just to start it and have it.
Exactly.
But the truth is, that's not the best thing for America. So
that noise was embarrassing.
So I need super liberal Johnny over there.
Yeah.
That wants nobody to have any guns at any level, not even snap caps.
Yeah.
to help
I used
balance
to love
me.
those.
Dude, they're fun. To help balance me.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
Because I know my perspective is extreme because I grew up in a different world. I was trained differently. I've experienced different things. Not everybody needs to have those things. Fact. So the point of that is that I respect and identify that we need the full spectrum of ideals.
Yeah.
To have
absolutely
overall the best path forward. And
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the American ideal was, or is still, is to have everybody at the table. Right. We can all come to a big agreement.
That's the idea. Because if we have 10 people in a room and we all order pizza, and we all order one pizza and we all agree, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
I have a problem. If everybody's happy at the end of it, get out.
Yeah.
Because there's something very wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? If you've got 10 people trying to make a decision on one path, you need 9 really pissed off.
Yeah.
And one that's kind of like, I guess it's okay.
Some middle ground guy.
Then you've got it, dude. And you're like, that's the best way. That
I have agreed with for a long time is not surrounding yourself with the same kinds of people. Right. And so this goes out to everybody, is if it's easy for you to make weekend plans, you're doing something very, very wrong.
Yes. Because
for my friends and my group of people, I'm the one who says, well, let's stay at home and, watch TV or study. And I've got a a buddy of mine. He was talking about hanging out last night, and I said, all right, that's fine. I'm getting off work now. I have to make my program. I have to finish up my program design for this this season. He said, oh, I just wanted to go to the pub. And I was like, I want to go to the pub too, but I still have to get this done. So how about we compromise and do, okay, I'll do this for a little while. We can sit down, talk about things. You can work on your whatever it is that you're working on. Then afterwards we'll go out, and it's like, I'm not going to drink, but I'll still go out and eat with you and all that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, never mind. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm like, cool. All right.
Right.
But
that's
life. No, exactly. And so,
Life.
I have a couple of friends we're all making plans to go out on holiday for the summer. And I was like, well, is where we're going have a gym? It's a 2-story gym. Oh, yes. Unlimited food, unlimited drinks. I don't care about the drinks, but I want the food.
Yeah, like
a lazy
food.
river. First question out the gate was, am I allowed to bring food on the lazy river? Yes. Okay, I'm good. And then we had other disagreement, and then we had other questions. I was like, this is the perfect place. Let's just go. But so, okay, back to the point, though, is if you have friends that agree with you on everything, you are not growing as a person.
No.
You have to have conflict to be able to grow. So you have to have people with opposing ideals. And so if you ever get the chance, and this is I'm sure you're on the same page, to the people out there listening, is if you get the chance to become friends with somebody you don't agree with, do it.
Yeah.
For the sheer reason is they will help you grow.
Yeah.
Far better than somebody who, lack of better term, yes man.
Oh yeah.
To what it is that you're saying.
We don't need any of those.
Yeah, you do not need a yes man, and understand that there's a proverb that I keep telling people because young people keep doing stupid things and hanging out with stupid people. You become the company that you hold.
Well, yeah, of course.
And so have a diverse company, you'll be a diverse person. Have the same narrow-minded company, you'll be the same.
Proverb or proverb?
I don't know.
I think it would actually supposed to be proverb. You got that damn English in the freaking thing. There's got to be another consonant somewhere to be
proverb. There's a proverb out there that
says the middle. Damn it. And if you just say it real quick and jumble it up, no.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just screwing with you.
As quickly as possible. So
I get mad at the English language a lot.
I just stopped worrying about it.
Yeah.
I have a Scottish friend that I constantly, a coworker of mine, friend. We go out and bike and go out to the pub and all that. He butchers it, but it's on the English level. So I'm like, is that right? And he's like, yeah, to us it is. I'm like,
oh, it's Queen's English.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Oh, well,
and so he was born there in Scotland. I'm like, oh, okay. So he's got like the Queen's English with a twist.
With the Scottish twist.
Yeah.
Like, that gets weird sometimes. Good.
So I sit here, I just give up. I'm like, you, whatever, dude. I don't care anymore.
We're sitting here, and I know I'm not going to think of any. They have some words that they'll say, and I'm like, I know that is English.
Aluminium.
No idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Australians have the same thing.
Yeah.
There's words that you just don't.
Or South Africans. Zebra.
Yeah.
Well, there's a comedian out there who said, if there's one thing I want you to take away from tonight, it's not zebra, it's zebra. It's not Debra, it's Deborah.
That's the dude. See, don't get me started on that.
Oh my God, I love that comedian.
Don't get me like I'm. Yeah.
But it's the same, aluminum, aluminium, and then you have the whole bit there, and it goes down, and so it's just dialect and accent and whatever.
And I love the Rogan podcast. So I was watching it there, listening to it the other day, and they had an older gentleman on there, very intelligent, but kept trying to talk about a clique, like the social clique.
Yeah.
And he's saying clique. What is this clique? And then the clique and something, clique. And I'm like,
okay.
And like the first or second time he said it is once or twice. Joe was like, yeah, and something and my clique, and like he would kind of say it without saying no, it's
being
not
passive as
fuck. I was like, dude, I know you're frustrated as shit.
Yeah.
But it was just because in the way he said it was awkwardly pitched.
Yeah.
So it was almost like it was annoying. Just the sound itself. Not
I
that
see
he
what
was
you're saying.
Not even the word he was saying, but just the sound was a little.
Because English doesn't work on pitch very much. There are a lot of languages out there that you change your pitch and it creates a huge difference. English, okay, well, if you're asking a question, change your pitch or this, that, and the other.
Kinda.
But yeah, I mean, you can be monotone and still make the same exact point, which is true. Okay, so now I want to find a friend named Rick with the QUE. Just
you're gonna be awful.
Oh yeah, exactly. Or I'm just gonna name my kid that just to piss everybody off. How did you mess that up?
That's it.
I'm sure I'm gonna get some backlash from a certain person on that bit.
Yeah, of course.
But
yeah, okay, so all the Trump shit, dude. So we saw this morning, 7 o'clock this morning. Trump X'd the summit with North Korea.
And so that was the big business that I wanted to jump onto. Not that I know much about policy or much about foreign affairs or anything like that, but I was talking to my father this morning. He said, "Yeah, I called it." I was like, "What do you mean you called it?" He was like, "Oh, it's been going on forever." I was like, "Oh, am I just not the one in the loop about this business?"
Normally, it's them. Well, I guess you could claim it's them, whatever the hell, because supposedly this one specifically was canceled due to very recent aggressive comments.
Yeah. And
out of North Korea. I don't know if they came from Kim Jong-un or I didn't read that far, but out of North Korea against the U.S. and South Korea because South Korea continued to do their military exercises and North Korea didn't want it and all that kind of stuff. So that was basically what's put out to the public as to why it's canceled for now.
So in that case, I have to disagree. It's both of our faults.
Yeah.
It's America and North Korea's fault because it takes, as they say, two to tango.
Yes.
Fair.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess in this case it takes probably 24.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's right. Exactly.
But yeah, let's not. So, no, I don't. So this whole business with North Korea, that sounds so casual for the whole conversation.
Yes.
I have a lot more questions than I do remarks or comments, and one of the questions is where does it go from here? How do we continue?
Well, okay, so the door was not closed on talks at all.
Yeah,
it was basically right now with the current atmosphere of what's going on.
Yeah,
it's best for everybody involved. Let's put it off.
Yeah,
it didn't say put it off because you have to remember is because a lot of people are going to eat up that letter. I don't know if you saw it, but they posted the actual letter and all these things to North Korea.
Oh no!
So it was all instantly with the first report and everything. So you couldn't misconstrue what was said. You have to remember is that many times letters like this are written so that they're translated more appropriately.
Yeah.
So they're not written in English for English people.
Yeah.
Here in America, they're written in English in a way that's easily translated or makes sense in that language when translated.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's where a lot of people get all bent out of shape and use this language or that language. Why is that stupid to say this here? Well, yes. If we were sending this letter to Britain, To Great Britain, yeah,
Fair.
that wouldn't make any sense. But we're sending it to a country that has a language that doesn't translate very well to anything Romanized.
Yeah.
Okay, so any of the
Yeah, that's true.
The Southeast Asian countries and things like that,
Yeah.
they don't translate well. So that's one. So doors weren't closed. Okay. President Trump expressed he very much wants the meeting, and he wants to have a meeting. In all realism, it still could happen on the 12th. Okay, they could still reestablish.
We still have a ways to go.
Still, a couple weeks away. Still could happen. I just saw that. So let's not think this is gone.
Okay.
The normal pattern of this always happens is North Korea would flip us off and shoot another missile into the sky or do something. I mean, like it's different. You got to remember he
sounds a lot
freely
like us
right. He freely gave up the 3 prisoners.
Yeah. Oh,
okay,
that's true. Yeah.
With no strings attached. He has freely froze his nuclear program, which is still, the last I read, was still not going. He, on his own, and there's a lot of, you can go back and forth, but on his own, he detonated all the tunnels and things that were associated with testing.
Yeah.
Okay. Not that he can't go somewhere else. I get all that. I'm just saying what's done. Okay. You can back end it all you want.
Yeah, this can be taken at face value.
He's had effectively 2 meetings with South Korea. Okay. So the one that was big televised, and then the other I don't know if it was him directly, but there's been talks. So, and China's involved in these talks too. So we also have to remember that.
Yeah.
So, basically what happened is South Korea had a military exercise that they do every year on the same time at the similar places.
Yeah.
And North Korea was like, we're trying to do a summit. Don't do them this year. And South Korea's like, we do them every year. We do them every year.
Okay, so this is just 2 people being stubborn.
And they're just being stubborn.
Okay.
And
fair.
I'll share my frustration with it is you're with Kim Jong-un, you're dealing with a pretty nutty dictator. Okay?
Yeah. That was politely put. Yeah, very nice.
A pretty nutty dictator is going to always have to feel like they have some level of control.
Naturally.
Okay?
Yeah.
President Trump is probably one of the best people to initiate the summit, right?
Yeah.
And then President Trump or that type of person needs to disappear until the day of the summit. Because everything that goes on from the scheduling of the summit to the summit, you cannot have a pompous ass. I'm being real. A pompous billionaire ass at the helm.
That's true, yeah.
Having communications back and forth with a nutty dictator.
Yeah.
It's not going to work. You can't do it. Right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
You follow me?
Which is true because he can bring them to the table, but that whole business of
he's good for initiating the meeting. He's good at the table.
Yeah. Naturally.
Between that, I don't care if it's 20 minutes or 20 years, he's got to disappear.
Yeah.
He can't be associated with those communications, right? I mean, but you follow me?
Yeah. Because you're going to hear some weird thing come out of his mouth and be like, oh, no, you fucked it all up. Yeah. Because I'm sure he can't go 15 minutes without saying some strange stuff.
Strange is a good way to put it because sometimes I feel like this. I know you're too young to know, but you can go back and look at video. President Reagan was probably one of the best one-liner presidents we've had with wit. Like he'd come back in little snapbacks, one-liners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was very comedic. It was very funny. It was all these things. And this dude was negotiating with Russia. Some highly successful negotiations with Russia. Go back and look and the Berlin Wall down, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you get all this. So he was doing some high-level shit with wit. Okay. President Trump doesn't have that kind of wit. But I think he wants to have that kind of wit.
Yeah.
And I think an overwhelming majority of his fumbles are because he's trying to be witty and he's trying to be funny and he's not. Sometimes he is. Sometimes he is. But you know what I mean? He's not. He doesn't have that kind of a wit.
No, that I agree with.
Clinton had some wit. He was pretty good.
And then there
President
was
Obama kind of had some. Like his was kind of hit and miss, but there was so much just all the political hate that was started really during the very, very, very end of Clinton. To be real.
Yeah.
Has tainted everybody's sense because even President Bush had some pretty good one-liners too, you know.
Yeah.
But President Reagan was really good. Like he had some consistent. When you got to go back and look and just check his one-liners and all that. It was really good.
I'm sure there's a list out there of just enthused people. I'm so looking forward to that now.
He was really good at it. You know, he had great charisma and all that stuff. Yeah. And this is not. I'm not saying anything about his policy.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just like he had good wit.
Yeah.
And I really believe President Trump wants to have that same kind of wit, and he doesn't.
I agree. Well, so yeah, and so that's because from what I've heard him talking about, it goes constantly into like, oh, okay, like, oh, that's an interesting topic, and then, oh, that was a terrible way to execute that topic.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, and then shout out to Barack for the dad jokes. Oh my God.
Oh, I know I saw it, but I didn't watch it. But I know, yeah, he did the dad.
It's great.
Don't mess it up for me. Don't spoil it because I saw the video, saved it, the whole shebang.
Yeah, So I think he had a funnier, more home style one-liners at the very end there. Oh, it got so perfect.
Okay, I'll have to make sure I watch it. I'll watch it on cardio.
And then, but yeah, so for Trump, I mean, every once in a while he'll say something, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. I'll give you that one. and then the majority of the time, I'm sitting there like, I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah,
that's actually amazing. And not in the good way.
No, I know. Like in the like, you have made me speechless kind of way.
Yeah, and not in the good way. Yeah, right. Exactly.
You know, and people try to hit it. I'll just say this as a blanket statement. I don't care who's president. If anyone has to go through all the crap to become president, they really want the country to be great.
Yes. Right?
And people get mad. Who you said the word great? Yeah, I said the word great. Yeah. Whatever. It's not his slogan. Shit. The word great's been around a long time, right?
Fair.
But they really want the best for the country.
Yeah.
Now, as with always, 10 people in a room, they ordering one pizza. Not everybody's going to agree.
Yeah.
You know? And even you go right before him, President Obama oozed charisma.
Oh, yeah.
Insanely charismatic.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I think it's going to hurt his legacy because he sold things on his charisma, which turned out to be bullshit. Which is the Obamacare,
I see what you're saying.
All those things, and you're like, oh. But at the time and how he delivers things, it's almost undeniable.
Yeah,
his delivery and his conviction of his delivery and things like that. And I'm not saying any of that stuff was his fault.
Yeah,
because sometimes as president, you've got to say, here's 10 things we're talking about. There's still negotiations that got to go on.
Yeah, there's always going to be some compromise.
Yeah, he's making bold statements, and it's just not solidified, and that's not necessarily his fault.
Which is
or
true.
Any president.
And so I guess we saw the same thing with this was back in a history class that I had with Kennedy and Nixon.
Yeah,
they used to say that on TV when Kennedy was speaking, you know, you were voting for him every day of the week. But if you were listening to the radio and all you could hear was just what they were saying, Nixon every single time. Are you kidding me? Just because more sensible in policy, more sensible in this. But Kennedy, oh my God, just like Obama, that charisma is incredible.
Exactly.
And so I guess
especially
that's
back
fair.
then, you got to remember too, is there was still a lot of print that people went off of.
Yeah.
And so it was basically visual.
Yeah.
80-20 for Kennedy. Anything else?
Yeah.
80-20 for Nixon.
Yeah.
But that visual, dude, because TV was big then, and it was so new, and it was a great technology and all.
Exactly,
this kind of stuff.
I think that's what made the huge hit.
Yeah, and honestly, we're going all over the place. Doesn't matter. This is my whole synopsis of President Obama in one snap. If he would have waited one term, or two, depending on who was elected.
Yeah.
Right. If he would have passed then, I think he had the potential to go down as one of our greatest presidents ever. Because he became president at such a young age, which with such a low level of understanding of government. Does that make sense? And he understood government. People were going to lose their mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As far as like he just wasn't there very long.
Yeah.
You know, one term guy, and then he's all of a sudden going to be president.
Yeah.
And wasn't governor and wasn't any of this other stuff. I don't think he had the time to properly develop his leadership abilities.
Yeah.
And he made some.
I see what you're
saying. He made a lot
of
good decisions. He made some bad decisions, and he made a few catastrophic decisions. And I'll let everybody else debate that.
That could have been adjusted by just experience
just
level.
A little bit more time.
I see what you're saying.
Or come in as vice president, be the vice presidential candidate.
I like that. Yeah.
Get that deal. I just think he jumped the gun.
I would have loved to have seen him come in, been like this phenomenal president, and then taken like a term or two off and just been the comeback kid.
Yeah.
Just, that would have been wonderful.
But, which is possible for him, But just something along those lines, because I was just like, oh, he's not. And even during the primaries and stuff before his first time he was elected, that was one of the things I said the most. I'm like, he's too immature in this fashion to be a good president.
Yeah.
And then I knew he was going to win.
Yeah.
Because he had charisma out the ass, and he's black.
Yeah.
I'm like, he won.
Check. Let's go.
He's absolutely going to win, and people can hate that, but that's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just like, I'm just going to win. I'm just like, damn it, I wish he would have taken off. Damn.
Yeah.
Because if he would have, we likely would have been stuck with Hillary for a term. People would have been like, that's bullshit. So then he would have been up. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Exactly. Sort of understand the way this works.
Because which ultimately him going early led us to have Trump now.
Yeah.
Because again, so many of those mistakes that were made and cabinet appointments, and anyways, it's I don't want to get into the History Channel of it, but
yeah, that's a topic for another time.
Yeah, but that's my deal. So to go back on this, I think President Trump is trying to be witty, and he's disrupting himself by trying to be something he's not.
Yeah. Okay. That I can absolutely agree with. And then to that whole bit with you saying, yeah, and you're right, saying anybody that goes through the trouble of becoming president does want the better for the country.
Yeah.
Is not something that I've taken a lot of consideration for.
Because who's going to go through that shit?
Which is true.
Because think of how many great people that people have wanted to run, and they're like, nope.
Yeah.
Colin Powell, big one. Dude, I think he would have been one of the greatest presidents ever. And now I had direct deal. Different knowledge base on that. But he's like straight up. The Republican Party went to him. The Democratic Party went to him. Both parties are going to him.
Yeah.
They run independent. And he would have been elected instantly. He was like, I'm not going to put myself or my family through that. And then a lot of people are like, oh, he's got skeletons in his closet. No, maybe he just doesn't want to put him or his family through that.
Yeah.
Because that's a bitch, dude. Look at all this.
Yeah. Well, I saw watching Obama age was like, it didn't look like 8 years of progression. It looked like 20 years of progression. I was like, Jesus, my guy.
It's all of them, man. Everything you've got to deal with at that level.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh. Oh, my goodness.
Massive sympathy for that.
So that gives me kind of a new perspective on Trump. I guess he is dealing with that. So.
And in his defense. His defense. And again, not agreeing or disagreeing with policy. He's had, in the best way you can rate it, the most friction to get his appointments through, right?
Yeah.
So all those appointees are being this, that. He's having to deal with, in the beginning, more non-presidential things than anybody else has had to deal with.
Fair.
People are losing their mind because of Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
Okay, great. He had sex with Stormy Daniels and paid her to shut up, and she didn't shut up. So, great, whatever, dude. Think of how many President Clinton had that we knew about through the whole thing, So I'm like, is it really about, let's just be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, so then let's approach that from a legal standpoint rather than a political standpoint or a social standpoint. Fair.
Right. So, was she an escort? Did she want to be there? Did she not?
Really, exactly. At the end of a whole lot of details that
at the end of the day,
I don't want to know about.
She said she was cool being there. Maybe she wasn't really happy about it, but she did it, and she was cool with it and got paid and didn't have anything to say about it until he became president. I'm like, all right, so that's suspect.
And then which is fair.
And not suspect that it happened or not.
Yeah.
Suspect as far as motive.
Yeah.
You're just trying, stop. Like that kind of stuff. So he's having to deal with all this, the Russia collusion, these things, and then you get people arguing, and they've basically come out and said that he's not under investigation for collusion, but they won't close the case.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to use it to reach out and find other crap, and you're like, oh, and the dossier stuff, and this and that. So whatever you follow, now. It's just a matter of, again, agree or disagree with his policy. He's having to deal with a lot of crazy shit right from the get-go.
That's
which off the top of my head, I don't know that any other presidents had to deal with. Right? Like you could say, President Bush had to deal with 9/11 real early in his presidency.
Yeah.
Yes. But that's a presidential thing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very much something you
Very
may have to deal
executive
with
branch
as,
style stuff. Yeah.
as a president. You have to deal with that. It's not. Did you pay? Well, how did your slush fund get paid for? Well, who paid out? Was it out of petty cash or
Yeah.
son of a
something taxes? What?
Like what?
Just,
Let me see your taxes, dude. He's a
Exactly.
real estate tycoon.
yeah.
Shit.
Well,
Can you? Right?
can you kind of put two and two together?
Well, but he's going to be president. He's a real estate tycoon. Just please,
Yeah.
like, stop. Like, let's get any self-employed person in the United States and let's look at their taxes, and you're going to see a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. You know,
That's true.
nobody's doing legit. But I pay an accountant. Shut up. But I pay an accountant to do it real. You're going to pay shit. You know what I'm saying? You're giving that accountant $3,000 so you can cheat your way
Do
out of
whatever you
spending
want.
another
Yeah,
30.
Exactly.
You know, like, let's be honest about this, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Or I guess in his case, you're paying him.
dude, yeah, you're self-employed. I'm self-employed. To me, get the
Yeah,
receipt.
yeah.
I'm like, yep, keeping that one.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. I had to go to Chick-fil-A afterwards to do this, that, and the other.
There's people. That buddy of mine owns a salesman. It's not door-to-door salesman, but just a salesman, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he'll go and have lunch, and then he'll ask the teller or host or waiter, waitress, whomever's helping him, to actually put 2 guests on the receipt, even if he's by himself.
Really?
That's tricky, dude.
Wow, that is a trick.
But I'm saying, you know, and then people are like, well, Trump, let me see your tax records.
Yeah.
Shush it, man. Just
Yeah.
hush. You know? Like, could we let that one go? Poor guy.
I'm just curious more than anything else. I am interested to see what's been going on.
I want to learn.
Yeah, I want some pointers, please. Yeah.
I'm not saying I want to hate him or anything. I'm like, let me learn a little
Yeah,
bit.
exactly.
You know?
You
But
got
yes,
that way
that's, you know.
by some grace of God. So let's see this.
We went all over the place, man.
Yo, yeah. So I am totally had some old students come back from out of state for a competition, and now I'm thinking about it. I should have totally written that down because I paid for them. You know, they were in, and I'm older, so I was like, all right, yeah. And oh man, how beautiful it would have been just to have those tacos, and then just known that I had the best time of my life there and met wonderful people there, and been like, and I didn't have to pay for shit.
But write it off, man. Dude, students,
Yeah,
it's
exactly,
work.
and that's what it's gonna be now. No, I'm just joking.
No,
I'm not
it's
joking. I'm not
it's
joking
legal.
at all.
It's legal. It's legal. As long as you're there, you're there supporting work, and you're supporting clients, and
Yeah.
you're promoting yourself, and
Yeah.
that's work.
Old
man.
clients, old work. We're fine.
Right?
They don't know. Timeline's not there.
It's me in the world of fitness. You know, and I've
That's true.
my
You can do
contract with
whatever you want at this
Optimum.
point.
I've got to maintain fitness.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
what's included that? You know, I don't pay for supplements, but any vitamins that I buy,
Yeah.
gym clothes that I buy,
Yeah.
gym memberships. Like,
Gym clothes, really?
I gotta wear gym clothes.
That's a trick. I like.
I'm
that.
required to look. You know.
Yeah,
required
yeah.
look
You
right.
have to look
can't-
the part.
Now here's the reality. I think I've paid for like 2 shirts in the last 15 years, but whatever.
Yeah.
Go with it.
I was about to say at the point that you're at.
I'm like, whatever. You know, and shorts and
Yeah. What are those?
I've had to. I mean, I buy my tax pants.
Yeah. There you
Yeah.
go. There you go. There.
I buy that clothing, and I bought hats. I did buy baseball caps. But other than that, I mean, it's like, but still, anything those buy.
Yeah.
Buy it off,
Yeah.
man. Education, research, certifications, licensing.
Oh, that's a trick. Because, oh my God, the time that I
off.
spend just.
Oh, give me the. Hold on. I just said that. Tell me this.
What's up?
Light a fire. Poke a bear.
Oh, let's do it. I'm so ready
Vote-
for this.
I want a young person's perspective on this because I got
Okay.
old people's and middle people and angry people and, all that kind of stuff. Logical people. Got all of it.
Okay.
Voter ID laws.
Voter ID laws.
Tell me why. I'm going to give you the question. You may not have an answer to this, but I'm going to give you the question. Tell me why, at any level, it's wrong to require valid photo identification when you vote?
I don't think it is wrong. I don't think anybody in my generation believes it's wrong. Do we? Because I don't.
Yes. The short answer is yes. Now, what percentages, I don't know, because I know there's a lot of young people that are on the side of, combating the voter ID laws.
So, because I did have to hear about this when we were voting primaries, and then we were voting presidential, was they weren't bringing their little voter registration card thing, a little paper thing that comes in the mail. But the precedent that's been set, the tradition that's been set is you don't need it. You need your ID, right? And for all of my friends that I was talking to, and anybody who had any form of issue was that they didn't bring that silly card and they weren't letting them vote.
Yeah.
Because I would have to say, well, anybody over 18 should probably be bringing some sort of photo ID with them, right? Now, disagree or agree, I don't particularly care, and especially if you're going to especially if you're voting, or if you're going to some government function, or if you're going to any function, really, keep your ID with you, naturally. Right. And most people do. Most people keep it in the back of their phone case, or they'll keep it in their wallet. Yeah, they'll keep it in their shoe, whatever it is. Have it on you.
Just to be
fair.
How do you open a bank account?
Yeah, you need an ID. You need email. Not email. You need mail and other forms of ID.
How do you? Board a plane.
Yeah.
Board a bus.
Yeah. But that wasn't the issue that we were having. Yours was they
didn't have the voter ID.
Yeah, we didn't have a registration card or a voter registration card or whatever it is, and we were getting denied. I didn't have that issue, but I remember
heard that. And then what they're supposed to do there, really, if you've got a photo ID, and it matches the list,
exactly,
and you're at the right precinct,
exactly.
Now this doesn't count early voter or early voting. There's a little bit of a different deal, but all that matches, you vote.
Yeah.
Now,
that's exactly right.
People were going in with like a utility bill. They didn't have their voter card and stuff like that. And generally speaking, you're supposed to fill out this form, and you get a supplemental ballot, which basically means they don't count it unless the numbers are close enough that could be a difference.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Makes sense. So they collect it. That's typically how they're supposed to do it. And you people, voter ID laws are just a poor person's tax or some kind of crap like that. I'm like, it's $16 and it's good for 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, and, here in Texas anyway, if you can't afford it, you can go into the DMV and fill out a form and you can get a photo identification for free.
Yeah. Which.
So it's like, I just can't watch. Like, you're required to have an ID.
Yeah.
If you drove there, you better have an ID.
Yeah, exactly.
One. And then I get it. Some people don't drive. Cool. You can get a photo ID from the state. And it's still, whatever, 16. Let's just call it $20. $5 a year to have a photo ID.
Yeah. That I agree with. And like the folks that didn't, people in my generation who didn't have IDs brought their passports, brought whatever else they could to prove that they were, I am the person that I say I am, right? And so, but because I remember this topic way back when I was sitting there voting for, I think it was Obama's second term or whatever it was, or maybe it was Trump's first term. They won't let me vote because of, I don't have my card, and that's never been policy, or this is that and the other. And I was like, oh shit, dude, that sucks for you. I don't look like I'm 22, so I don't ever have that issue. But yeah, absolutely. Everybody that I know that is over 18 carries their card. Actually, take that back. Everybody that I know over 16 carries some form of photo ID with them.
Right.
Just because, even if it's that little paper permit thing that
something. Well, I mean, it's not a photo, but I mean,
some
but
exactly
way to get you there. Does that make sense? I was trying to pull some of the comments on that thread, but it's not coming through fast enough.
And so I think the whole business was that wasn't ID. It was just what we claimed it was trying to hold us from voting, so we didn't vote for whatever they didn't want us to vote for.
They had
the older group that was working the polls or whatever.
They had assumed you were going to vote whatever Democrat over Republican, so they didn't want that, and they were trying to obstruct your deal, which is which is a felony, right? But
exactly,
felony.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
there's ways to deal with that too, and there's hotlines and numbers you can text and all this kind of crap that if that happens, you call it, text it, and it's published on all the websites, and somebody's going to come out and help you out.
We don't look at websites though.
Well, but I mean, it's on Twitter. It's on.
Yeah,
it's all
Where's the closest voting? Oh, okay, let's go. And then just beeline.
My recommendation is just always early vote.
Yes.
There's no lines. It's less of a
agree.
hassle. Take your fucking.
And that was, I think that was the whole fun bit of it was,
ID, man,
because especially in my friends group, and this was, I remember when I first turned 18 and we were first allowed to vote for that first thing. Everybody was like, "Oh, I just voted." I was like, "Has it even opened yet?" It's first day of early voting. I was like, "Oh my god,
no
committed to the cause, my guy. Really good job."
Because nobody's there.
Exactly, and they were just because it like, especially being young, and it was like, this is like your first like true responsibility, to push your country forward. Oh, I'm totally doing this. And so, I early voted my first time, and then second time I cut it really close to like not being able to.
I'll say one time on any of all the elections, one time I've actually voted on voting day.
Yeah.
And I just hit it right. There was like two people in front of me.
Yeah.
I don't know,
timing was just perfect.
It was unintentional. I was there. I was in a really pissy attitude because I was like,
exactly.
Lines, blah blah. I'm gonna be
people here.
And went, and I was like, where's everybody? And the lady was like, "Hey, come in. The rush just finished." Oh. Yes. I was like, yes. But seriously, other time, if you early vote, almost every single time you're gonna be there for like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're out, dude.
Doesn't matter how long the line is.
Yeah.
Long line, you're going to be there for 15 minutes max.
It almost takes longer to walk from the parking lot to the door than it is to actually get through the process. To
exactly.
Go through. Oh,
exactly.
Love it, man. Yeah.
And so, but that was the whole bit, and I think it's been fun because I've been able to, like, especially the last time, is I have friends with kids, right?
Yeah.
And being able to bring the kid in and be like, "Oh yeah, so this is how we do it, and let's teach you her now, like rather than later." Yeah. And made a day of it, Yeah. And that was the whole. I think that was the exciting part. And then I have a lot of friends nowadays doing that. As my friends are starting to get older and they're starting to have kids and get married and this, that, and the other, bringing their kid with them. Yeah, this is how we do it, and they'll hold their baby with them at the pole and this, that.
But
and
it's
the other.
kind of
I don't know
cool
if it's
that
allowed,
way.
but that was the fun of it all.
Is the baby gonna influence your vote?
Yeah, exactly. Baby sits there in like this straight, just grown ass man voice. Vote Republican. Wait, what?
Did you even look at the economic standards of this guy?
Exactly.
It's like, no, it's not. Like we're good, man.
And so, but that was probably the most fun that I had voting, because the first time I just went get in, get it done. Yeah, prove to all my friends that I'm a patriot. And then the second time it was so.
Do you ever have to use a paper ballot?
What's that?
Do you ever have to use a paper ballot?
No. We used the
You've always been the computer
kiosk thing.
Man.
That thing is fun, but it's really, really hard to go through. Because I was
Some
voting I was like checking in, like, okay, well, let me see this judge for this print. I was like, I don't care.
Oh, so you actually vote?
Yeah.
Because that's how I do it. Because there's no straight ticket. I can't do that straight ticket. I think that's
I don't believe in straight ticket anyway. No. It's just because, but I mean, it exists. Yes, we're right, but I think in all left wing straight ticket or all right wing, it just doesn't make sense, because you need certain people in certain positions for certain things, right?
And then, as we know, is that sometimes there is an incumbent, and whatever the Democrats see, that has no chance of being beaten in the primary.
Yeah.
So the person will slip over. So then you have a Democrat in both. He's just under the Republican name, which you slide through, and then they wind up winning it. It's just ways around the system.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Because most people, and a lot of the guys I went to high school with got really political there. And so I'd ask them, so what's going on with, this, before I would go in and vote, what's going on with this, that, and the other? Oh, this is a sham, and this guy, this guy is a better qualified for the position and stuff like that. So educating the vote a little bit, by taking other people's advice. But yeah, I trust these people, and
it's discussion.
run the same. Yeah, exactly. It's not do this, do that.
Yeah,
no,
my opinion is this guy's better.
Consider
because of
consider that. Yeah. And build a network of those guys, and okay, educated vote.
See, that's
cool.
I love that. See, and this is what I want, and I'll. This is my last thing on the politics. I want it to be okay for everyone to be able to say, you know what, whatever, I voted for Trump, but I don't agree with everything he does.
Yeah.
Or I did not vote for Trump, but you know what? There's some things he does that I'm cool with.
Yeah.
And there's some things he does that I think are full of shit.
Yeah.
Either way, like I don't like this tribal thing that's going on with the politics.
Yeah, it's not all left, all right style stuff. But so this is falling back into political parties. And it's never just left or right. You have to find that in between. You have to find that middle ground, and that's what a lot of people are pulling away from. And so we're starting to like, oh, okay, well, everybody on the right side is wrong, everybody on the left side is wrong. No, that's not true. It's not.
No, it's not true.
And especially in a lot of cases, it's like the right-wing guys should have control over certain things, and the left-wing guys should have control over certain things just because it makes sense. We need progression in some places. We need conservative economics in some places.
Yeah.
Right? Let's be reasonable about the whole business. We don't need a full Republican House and Senate. We don't need a full Democratic House and Senate. Some 50-50 or add in the others, miscellaneous, whatever you want to call them. Perfect.
50-50 is great if they do their job.
Yeah, true. Or we can just come to some ridiculous stalemate that nobody wants to agree on.
Which we keep doing time and time again.
Yes, and shut down the government and...
Which is bullshit. When people...
Yeah, that's not how that works.
The government is not shut down. So it was a month anyway.
Yeah, you'd tell that to... Never mind.
I served during a couple of shutdowns, and there were a couple occasions that I didn't get my... always got my money.
Yeah.
But it was delayed.
Yeah.
2 weeks, or there was once it was... I think it was about 5 weeks. But when you're on base, you get little temporary lines of credit because everybody knows this is what's going on and that stuff, and it gets taken right out of your paycheck when it gets through. You don't have to go back and pay. Everybody's taken care of, dude. It's not like people are going to be worrying about getting food. And
I was about to say, because as soon as the police check out, then, there it is.
Everybody's fine.
Exactly.
We're
good, we promise. I'm like, as clueless as we are, there are some fail-safes.
Yes. and it's fine. And there's propaganda here just like everywhere else, but whatever.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dude, well, thanks, man. That was fun today.
Yeah, no, this was a fun one. I did enjoy this one.
Yeah.
And so
I almost started having to, I made a couple of voices, man. I don't know what the hell that. I gotta slow that down. Yeah, I know. I was getting me piped up on all this ignorant crap, and
exactly. What are you doing?
Oh man, awesome! So thank everybody for listening, watching, doing whatever you do, and we'll see you guys next week.
Cheers.
Peace.